Hello, my name is Andy Clayton. I'm the author and founder of Sweetspot. I'm going to spend about 15 minutes here sharing with you a few reasons why the Sweetspot exercise could benefit you in life, and then take you through step by step how to do it. It's going to be short, quick, simple, and easy for you. The Sweetspot exercise is incredibly popular, and the reason for it really generally comes down to three things. The first is that people find lots of opportunities for just saving time. They find better uses for their time through doing the exercise. The second is that it gives them a clearer pathway in life, both for themselves and for other members of the team, as to what the direction of travel for their progression in their career should be. And finally, it changes your mindset and allows you to make better decisions about how you use your time going forward. So let me share with you a few little examples of what that looked like for other people. So this is Gika. Gika runs a customer service team in Indonesia for a British face mask company called Cambridge Masks. And you can see she's holding up there the amount of time her and her team saved from doing one Sweetspot exercise. So you can see 18 of them saved 3,727 hours just by doing this exercise once. That's more than 100 times return on investment on the time spent on that workshop. And that number of 100 times ROI is one that comes back again and again for people doing Sweetspot exercises. And I often have people come up to me after a workshop and say, it's amazing, how on earth did I find so much time saving in my life? And why was it that I was wasting so much time? Now in Gika and her team's case, the key area that they saved time on was, as a customer service team, they have to use social media a lot. And they realized that social media was often a highly unproductive tool for them. And so they changed many of the ways around how they use social media. And as you can see, they found enormous time saving from that. To give an example at the sort of other end of the financial scale, this is Professor Bino Candola, OBE, who is a very well-respected and senior person in the world of diversity and inclusivity. He runs a business called Candola. Now, he's somebody whose time, the value of his time is measured in thousands of pounds per hour. And Bino, he also did the Sweetspot exercise. He managed to get it done in just 20 minutes. And he was able to identify also 100 times return on investment for that time. So 5 full days from his diary. Think of the value of that time. It's astonishing, really, when you reflect on it. Now, in his case, it was all about the time that he spends kind of doing free little chats and sessions for people. And so he did things like batch them into Q&A sessions so that people, if they wanted to have access to him, they could do it along with other people. He went through with his assistant, like I say, found 5 full days free from his diary. So how did they do it? Sweetspot, at the heart of Sweetspot sits a very simple matrix to understand. And it asks you to think about the activities that you're actually doing in your life. So where you spend your time. And to think of them along a couple of axes. The first is top to bottom, and it's really about strengths and weaknesses. So strengths being things that you're good at, that you enjoy doing, that give you energy. Weaknesses, obviously, things that you're not good at, suck your energy, and you don't enjoy doing. On the left to right axis, it's about the relative value add of that activity. Is it something that has relatively higher impact, significance, and consequence? And sometimes, and quite often, that is measured by money. How much would it cost someone else to do that task versus relative low value? And if you identify your activities across those two axes, what you can do is put them into these 4 boxes. So the top right-hand corner, this is the activities that you're good at, you like doing, and add significant value to your life. That's your sweet spot. If you could spend more time in your sweet spot, you'd feel more engaged, you'd enjoy life more, you'd get better results, you'd probably make more money too. However, many of us don't get to spend that much time in our sweet spot. And the reason for that is that we're stuck in the humdrum of day-to-day. We're in what we call the 3 Ds. So the top left is distractions. Distractions are the tasks which you're doing because you've always been the one that they've been given to. You've always because you're good at them. However, they've kind of outlived their usefulness. So for example, I'm pretty good at finances and spreadsheets. And so if there's finance spreadsheet work to be done, somehow I'm the one that ends up doing it. I'm not as disciplined about saying no and handing it over to other people as I should be, because it's not strictly a very high value task. Drains in the bottom right hand corner. So these are the things which are important. They have to get done, relatively high value, but you're not the right person to do them because it's just not within your skill set. So I've run big size companies over the years, but actually I'm not very good at people management. And even in my business today, I find the tasks around keeping the team engaged and recruiting new people into the business is just not what I do well. So I have to find others to delegate those tasks to, otherwise the results and the output are not good, and it feels like a kind of a weight on my mind. And then disasters, the bottom left hand corner, these are the tasks where you just know it's a bad use of time and you hate doing it, and it often, so in my case we had someone leave last year and I ended up doing the materials management. So boxing up all the books and the things that we sent to people, and it was just an awful use of time. So once you've identified what sits in those four boxes, you're then able to really think about how you allocate your time. But let me share with you first a little bit how the origins of Sweetspot. So, and this speaks to the second big benefit that it will bring you. And it's the story of Tiana. So Tiana is a finance manager who worked for me in one of my companies out in China. And when she joined the business, we were pretty small. And so as well as doing finance, Tiana also found herself doing operations and import-export and HR and goods management and all sorts of things. And we sat down and sort of developed and did the Sweetspot exercise. And we identified that unquestionably finance was in her sweet spot, top right corner. And we contracted between us that we would find a way to get all those other areas of work off her plate. Now, it took us a couple of years. We had to grow the company so that we could recruit people and outsource various functions, but we did get there. And I want you to think for a minute, like, what was Tiana's experience during those couple of years? As we progressively removed the things that were demotivating her, she got more engaged in her work, fewer mistakes. She enjoyed what she was doing more, and obviously she got better results. So it was a thoroughly positive process for her. And that's one that we see played out time and again as people work towards their sweet spot. Another interesting element of her story is that after a couple of years, when she was just focused on finance work, we ran the exercise again. And then she started to talk about how finance work itself divided into four. And she had her sweet spot within finance. So your sweet spot in life, it can also be a moving target. As you grow and develop in a role and interests change and move on, activities change, what you may find is that you go deeper and deeper into certain avenues of life. And the sweet spot exercise is all about that journey and that progression. So let's get into the actual details of how to go about doing the sweet spot exercise. And the best way to do this is to take the sweet spot worksheet, which you can see here. It's a simple 2-page worksheet. On the first page, you've got the key concepts of sweet spot outlined, and on the second page is the worksheet itself. So I've already shared with you the matrix, which helps you to think about how you allocate your time. The exercise itself asks you, first of all, to take notes on those 4 areas, and then to think about, of all the ideas that you've had, which are the key ones. So if you've taken a bunch of ideas for sweet spot, what do you think are the 2 or 3 really that sit within your sweet spot, the activities that you want to focus on in life? And then similarly for the distractions, drains, and disasters, which are the ones that you think you could significantly reduce or even eliminate time spent on? So let's talk a little bit about time saving, because that's the second part of this exercise. What we have is this mnemonic here, this way of identifying time saving, and we call it SODA, which is an acronym for 4 words: stop, outsource, delegate, and automate. So these are by and large the 4 ways that you can reduce or eliminate time spent on low value exercises. So stop, as it says on the tin, simply means setting better boundaries. It means saying no to things. So if you found yourself doing work that you shouldn't be doing, and that can just be stopped. So for example, I found myself teaching a course for a while, which I'd agreed to do pro bono, but it kind of overran its shelf life. And so I had to go back to the organizers and say, look, I'm really sorry. I've overcommitted and I'm not going to be able to continue doing this anymore. And sometimes in life, we just have to pluck up the courage to, in an appropriate way, say no to things and set boundaries. The second, and sometimes also, by the way, that would include things like clients that aren't a good fit, maybe poor paying clients or clients that are causing you more problems and headaches than they are benefits. Again, so sometimes that can involve turning away bits of work that maybe there is some benefit, but the benefits don't meet the costs and the difficulties incurred. Outsource means find somebody outside of the organization, a third party, a freelancer, a service provider. And this is a really very rich and multi-layered opportunity these days, because there are so many companies now that offer services to take away the many of the tasks that we do day to day. If you think about the task of driving, it can be outsourced entirely now to companies like Uber or taxi companies and train companies. You really don't need to do that anymore. The task of shopping no longer really needs to happen because we can outsource the whole thing to service providers. So try and think beyond just sort of classic freelancers and agencies to all the various services that could save you time. Delegate means finding someone else in the team, in the organization, to take a task away from you. And delegation has a crazy return on investment in time, because you generally get to remove something almost entirely that's taking up a significant amount of your time. The trouble is the act of delegation itself at the outset obviously requires time and energy. You've got to identify that person, trust them, train them, and then monitor. And that's often the reason why we don't delegate as much as we should, because in the busy of day to day, we just don't think about who are those people and those tasks that we should be, in a proactive way, going about delegating. And then finally, automate. Goodness, there are so many opportunities for automation these days. So that means using some form of technology, a software, a website, an algorithm, a robot, in order to take tasks away. So we use a platform called Monday.com for a lot of our task management. And it's amazing the number of automations that can be built in there that save us time, automatic reminders and the sort of email threads that we don't have to go through a lot of those repetitive manual tasks anymore. So that takes you to the second part of the worksheet. If you write down from the ideas that you've had, which are the activities that, using the SODA methodology, you think you can reduce or eliminate time. And in this column here, write exactly what it is that you're going to do. So for example, if you've identified something that needs to be delegated to someone, don't just write delegate, write, sit down with John and delegate task XXX to him. And then in this final column, write how many hours per week or per month do you think you could save by completing the action in here, and give yourself a total to shoot for. Finally, in this bottom box here, I want you to think about, once you've saved all the time from reducing those 3D activities, how are you in an active way going to spend more time in your sweet spot? So for example, if you've identified coaching others as being in your sweet spot, you may want to think about how you're actually going to find opportunities to do more of that. Maybe you want to reach out to 2 or 3 people in your organization to practice your coaching skills on. You need to go on a course, or you need to do something in order to move towards your sweet spot. So at heart, that's the exercise. It's, as you can see, it's a very simple exercise. If you do it by yourself, it may take you 20, 30 minutes. What we suggest is do it at least with a partner or a buddy. So take an hour and go kind of half an hour each. Once you've mastered the exercise, the way that you'll get really the most benefit from it is if you do it with your team. So regardless of whether you lead the team or whether you're a member of the team, if you get the whole team together doing this exercise and sharing their answers with each other, you'll find there's a bunch of extra benefits that you get from that. The first is that you'll all understand one another's sweet spot. It's an incredibly powerful thing within a team. If each of the people knows how the others want to develop and where the best use of their time would be, what that means is that you can allocate tasks better. You can guide people's career and professional development in a way that fits with their needs. You also collectively will do a better job of identifying productivity improvements. If it's the same process that's causing you all to waste time, then you'll do a better job of fixing that process if you sit down and do it together. Also, what you often find is the opportunity for what we call sweet swaps. So your drains, disasters, and distractions are other people's sweet spots. And that will be true even within your team. And you'll find opportunities where someone will say, hey, I'll take that from you, or even let's swap these activities because collectively we can do that in a more effective way. So figure out and do the exercise yourself, then do it with your team. And what you'll find is that if you continue that exercise, we suggest once every 3 months, is that you'll constantly be improving your productivity and kind of refreshing the and regaining clarity and efficiency within your life. But it will also change your mindset, and it will cause you to, in a more proactive way, make better decisions about how you use your time. So that when you're faced with that choice between the long, slow, cheap option or the more expensive option that's going to save you time, you might find that you approach all those decisions in a slightly different way. If you require some help with Sweetspot and the Sweetspot exercise, simply go to the website www.sweetspot.guru. You'll be able to download this worksheet there. You can also buy the book. The book contains loads of stories and tools and tips around how to do the exercise, how to save time, and also the mindsets, the things that typically hold people back from doing this kind of productivity improvement work. And you'll find a wealth of support and help within that. And finally, you'll see links and references to our coaching support. Our experience is that people get really excited and enthusiastic when they do this exercise, identify all sorts of ways of making their lives more efficient. But really where the rubber meets the road is getting those changes, actions in your life. And that's where a coach can help. So we can sit down and on the one hand, hold you to account to getting those things done through regular check-ins, but also provide you with the tools and support that you need in order to drive those changes and to work in a better way in your life. So if you need any help, you'll find all the references there. That's www.sweetspot.guru. I've been very proud to see Sweetspot change a lot of people's lives for the better. I'm sure it can do the same thing for you. And my commitment is that if you need any help on that journey, please reach out. It's andy@sweetspot.guru, or find one of our coaches on the website, and we'll be absolutely delighted to help you. So I wish you good luck, and please get in touch. Thank you.